kills more than salt. The worst oil that causes strokes and other severe brain diseases. Did you know there is an oil so destructive it can be worse than salt for your brain? Is present in millions of homes, consumed every day, silently, while attacking your memory, affecting your emotions, and drastically increasing the risk of strokes, dementia, and other serious neurological diseases. And the scariest part? This oil is hidden in foods many consider harmless. But this video goes further. We will show you the worst foods for the brain that are undermining your mental health without you noticing. Do you have trouble concentrating? Constant forgetfulness? Unexplained mood swings? Maybe the culprit is in your diet. Every choice at the table is shaping your brain's future. And at the end of this video, you will discover which oil is the most dangerous of all, responsible for inflammation in the nervous system, genetic alterations, and even accelerating neuron death. It's time to protect your brain before it's too late. Number 16. Refined sugar. Refined sugar is one of the biggest villains of brain health. When consumed in excess, it causes intense spikes of glucose in the blood, creating a true biochemical chaos in the brain. These spikes are followed by sharp drops, directly affecting mood, energy, and mental clarity. These blood sugar fluctuations also compromise memory and concentration ability. The brain, which needs a constant and balanced flow of glucose to function well, suffers from these highs and lows. Over time, this instability can increase the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Imagine trying to solve problems or make important decisions with your brain running in an unbalanced mode. That is what excessive sugar consumption causes, day after day. Another serious impact is insulin resistance in the brain, a condition often called type 3 diabetes. When brain cells stop responding well to insulin, the result is a gradual loss of their functions. This process is directly related to diseases like Alzheimer's. Studies show a clear link between sugar-rich diets and shrinkage of brain areas related to memory. It's no exaggeration to say that refined sugar literally corrodes your mind. Moreover, sugar feeds silent inflammation inside the brain. Neuroinflammation is one of the most common causes of problems such as depression, anxiety, and cognitive failures. Sugar stimulates the production of inflammatory cytokines, unbalancing neurotransmitters responsible for emotional regulation. We also cannot ignore the impact of sugar on children and adolescents. Excessive consumption at this stage compromises brain development, affecting learning, focus, and emotional control. For older adults, the effects are even more worrying as they accelerate cognitive decline. Fortunately, there are ways to change this scenario. Replacing sweets with fresh fruit, using cinnamon to naturally enhance the sweetness of foods, and avoiding sugary drinks are simple measures. Reducing sugar does not mean giving up pleasure, but reclaiming clarity and mental well-being. The brain is a demanding organ that requires balance. And the first step to taking care of it is to rethink how you relate to sugar. Number 15. Soft drinks. Soft drinks, despite their appealing flavor and convenience, are hidden enemies of brain health. Full of sugars or artificial sweeteners, they disrupt important body processes, including cognitive function. The high glycemic index of common versions causes sugar spikes that harm memory and focus. The zero or diet versions contain substances like aspartame that directly affect neurotransmitters. It may seem harmless, but 1 gram per day is enough to cause serious imbalances. Research indicates that regular consumption of soft drinks is associated with lower brain density. This means important brain areas may literally shrink over time, especially those linked to learning and decision-making. Additionally, these drinks contain compounds that interfere with the brain's energy metabolism. The result? More difficulty concentrating, less motivation, and even early memory loss. Do you see the high price paid for simple sip? Artificial sweeteners, very common in diet soft drinks, are pointed out as neurotoxins in several studies. Compounds like sucralose and acesulfame K affect the gut microbiome, which is directly linked to the brain. When the gut-brain axis is disrupted, it can contribute to anxiety, depression, and even neurodegenerative diseases. This reveals how far-reaching soft drinks' impact is. What you drink might be silencing your best ideas. Another worrying factor is the chemical additives used in these drinks. Colorants, preservatives, and acids present in soft drinks create an inflammatory environment in the brain. This type of inflammation is slow and almost imperceptible, but cumulative. And it is precisely this chronicity that makes the damage so dangerous. It's like a daily erosion of brain functions, accelerating cognitive decline over the years. A simple habit, but devastating. But know this, if you think soft drinks are bad, what will be revealed in the last chapter will shock you. A type of oil present in thousands of homes is even more destructive to the brain, and you will discover which it is. Number 14. White breads and refined pasta. White breads and refined pastas are common foods on many tables, but hide real dangers for brain health. Made with highly processed flours, they have a high glycemic index and cause glucose spikes similar to pure sugar. This overloads the brain with rapidly absorbed energy, followed by a sharp drop. This up and down is harmful to cognitive functions and can lead to confusion. Ever felt that tiredness after a heavy lunch? Here's the explanation. These foods also promote inflammatory processes in the body. When metabolized, they encourage the production of substances that inflame the central nervous system. This directly affects memory, concentration, and even emotional regulation. A diet based on white bread and refined pasta feeds the ground for diseases like Alzheimer's and depression. The brain needs stable and constant nutrients, and these carbohydrates don't provide that. Another relevant point is that these foods are generally poor in fiber and essential nutrients. The brain is not fed only by glucose, but also by B vitamins, antioxidants, and minerals. When eating white bread or regular pasta, one is basically ingesting empty calories. This nutritional imbalance prevents the brain from functioning at full potential. Instead of energy and focus, fatigue and mental sluggishness appear. Furthermore, frequent consumption of these simple carbohydrates contributes to brain insulin resistance. This impairs efficient energy use by the brain, affecting cognition and increasing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Often, symptoms begin subtly: trouble remembering names, loss of attention, confusion when making decisions. Small failures that can evolve into something more serious if the diet is not corrected in time. The good news is there are healthier alternatives. Real whole grain breads, pasta made with ancient grains like spelt or oats, and recipes with less processed flours offer flavor and nutrition. Including good fats and proteins in these meals also helps keep the brain nourished and stable. And be alert, the real threat to mental health is closer than you think. The worst oil for the brain will be revealed in the last chapter, and it's more common than you imagine. Number 13. Industrialized cakes and sweets. Cakes, filled cookies, and industrialized sweets are the perfect villains, tasty, accessible, and extremely harmful to the brain. Loaded with sugar, trans fats, and chemical additives, these foods create an inflammatory cocktail that attacks brain cells directly. Every bite may seem harmless, but hides an invisible and cumulative impact. Day by day, the brain is undermined without you noticing immediate effects. These sweets cause glucose spikes, similar to refined sugar, but with an aggravating factor: the presence of trans fats. These fats are known to be linked to the shrinking of brain areas related to memory and reasoning. Worse, combined with additives like colorants, preservatives, and artificial flavorings, they multiply the damage. Filled cookies, in particular, are highly processed and contain neurotoxic ingredients in their composition. The food industry uses substances that prolong product shelf life but harm neurotransmitter balance. Over time, continuous consumption can affect your mood, sleep, focus, and even your ability to learn new information. A routine full of industrialized sweets is a sure path to cognitive deterioration. Another problem is the addictive effect these foods have. The brain starts to repeatedly crave that explosion of sugar and fat, creating a cycle hard to break. This compulsive behavior is related to excessive dopamine release, which over time reduces receptor sensitivity. Result: you eat more and feel less pleasure, deeply harming mental and emotional health. Number 12. Fried foods. Fried foods are one of the most common temptations in fast meals, but also one of the most dangerous for the brain. When prepared, usually in reused oils, these foods accumulate toxic compounds that silently settle in the body. These substances, like aldehydes and acrylamides, are neurotoxic and accelerate degenerative brain processes. The crispy taste may be attractive but hides a high price for your mental health. Constant exposure to fried foods promotes chronic inflammation in the central nervous system. This silent inflammation affects functions like memory, learning, and emotional control. Worse yet, these foods are rich in saturated and trans fats, already widely linked to brain volume reduction in critical regions. Studies show frequent fried food consumption can decrease cognitive performance in adults and elderly. A simple portion can be another step towards decline. Additionally, fried foods compromise the integrity of neuronal cell membranes. This happens because bad fats accumulate in nervous tissues, altering their structure and hampering signal transmission between neurons. The result? Memory lapses, difficulty concentrating, irritability, and even constant fatigue. And the impact can be worse in people predisposed to neurological diseases. Another common problem with fried foods is the combination of empty calories and low nutritional value. When eating pastries, fries, or nuggets, the body receives low-quality energy that overloads the liver and brain without offering essential nutrients. This creates a vicious cycle of hunger, compulsion, and attention deficit. Frequent fried food consumers are feeding the worst version of their brain without even realizing it. Reducing fried foods or replacing them with baked, grilled, or boiled foods is a smart step to protect neurological health. Using quality oils and conscious preparation make all the difference. But beware, if you think fried foods are dangerous, wait until you discover the oil that most attacks the human brain. This revelation will be made in the last chapter, and it may completely change your relationship with the kitchen. Number 11. Processed meats. Processed meats are practical and popular, but hide real risks for brain health. These products, like sausages, hams, and mortadellas, are rich in preservatives like nitrites and nitrates. When metabolized by the body, these substances can turn into carcinogenic and neurotoxic compounds. It's as if with every bite, you were silently undermining the integrity of your cognitive functions. Nitrites and nitrates, besides inflaming tissues, also affect cerebral blood flow. This reduces oxygen and nutrient supply to the brain, making regeneration difficult and harming performance. People who frequently consume processed meats have a higher risk of developing dementia, according to international studies. Memory begins to fail, mental confusion increases, and decline installs subtly but progressively. Besides preservatives, processed meats are rich in bad fats and sodium. This combination promotes hypertension and inflammation, two critical factors for brain degeneration. Excess sodium, for example, interferes with neurons' electrical impulses and can cause loss of brain connections over time. Long-term, this structural loss results in symptoms ranging from constant forgetfulness to difficulty with logical reasoning. Another alarming point is the presence of artificial additives in these products, which affect the gut microbiota. Since the gut and brain are closely connected, any imbalance in the digestive system directly affects mood, concentration, and even sleep. Did you know that some anxiety and depression symptoms can be worsened by this type of food? What you put in your sandwich might be affecting your mind more than you imagine. Avoiding processed meats is an act of brain protection. Replacing them with natural protein sources like eggs, chicken, or legumes is a way to feed your mind with more intelligence. But it doesn't stop there. There's something even more dangerous, an ingredient present in millions of kitchens that attacks your brain devastatingly. This substance will be revealed in the last chapter, and it is essential you know what it is. Number 10. Industrial margarine. Margarine, often promoted as a healthy alternative to butter, is a disguised trap in modern eating. Made with refined and often hydrogenated vegetable oils, it becomes rich in trans fats, a highly inflammatory fat. This substance is pointed out by scientists as one of the main causes of brain inflammation. Each spoonful of margarine may be silently sabotaging your mental health. Continuous margarine consumption directly affects the fluidity of neuron membranes. This hampers communication between brain cells, compromising memory, learning, and clarity of thought. Trans fats also affect neurotransmitter production, such as serotonin and dopamine, which regulate mood and well-being. In the long run, this interference can lead to depressive states, anxiety, and decreased cognitive performance. Studies prove that people who regularly consume trans fats have a higher risk of developing Alzheimer's. This happens because these fats promote plaque formation that interrupts neuron communication. Moreover, they increase oxidation in the brain, a process that damages nerve cells. What seemed like a simple ingredient on your toast may, in fact, be a silent agent of mental decline. Another critical point is that margarine is often used in preparing other dangerous foods like industrialized cakes, cookies, and frozen doughs. So often without realizing it, you're consuming margarine excessively. This hidden consumption contributes to accumulated damage over time. It's as if the brain were being bombarded by toxins disguised as food. Eliminating industrial margarine from your routine and replacing it with healthier alternatives like organic butter, extra virgin olive oil, or avocado paste is an essential step. Your brain needs good fats to function well, and margarine is far from being one. The right choice can mean the difference between an agile brain and a declining brain. But beware, the real villain among oils will be revealed soon, and you'll be surprised by what you're consuming without knowing. Number 9. Fast food. Fast food conquered the world with speed and flavor, but its impact on the brain is devastating. Foods like hamburgers, industrialized pizzas, and fries combine trans fats, excessive salt, and chemical additives. This combination harms essential brain functions like memory, decision-making, and emotional control. Regular fast food consumption can literally shrink brain areas associated with reasoning and learning. Scientific studies show that diets rich in fast food are directly linked to reduced brain volume. This means nerve cells start working worse, with less communication ability. Inflammation generated by this type of diet reaches the central nervous system, making cell regeneration difficult. It's as if you were aging your brain faster without noticing. Eating badly today may cost a lot in your cognitive future. Another common problem with fast foods is the use of ultra-processed ingredients, which affect hormonal balance and the gut microbiome. Since the gut directly influences the brain, any imbalance can lead to irritability, depression, and loss of focus. And don't be fooled, even artisan versions of fast foods can carry these risks when prepared with poor quality ingredients. Convenience, in this case, has a very high cost. Excess salt is also one of the big villains of this type of meal. High sodium compromises cerebral blood flow, reducing oxygen available to nerve cells. This increases the risk of strokes and silent microlesions affecting cognition. Many young adults already show signs of premature brain were due to a fast food-based diet. Rethinking this eating habit is essential to preserve mental health. Prioritize fresh foods prepared at home with natural ingredients rich in antioxidants and good fats. Your brain needs clean fuel. And attention, in the last chapter of this video, we will reveal which oil is the most dangerous of all for your brain. A very common ingredient that might be in your kitchen right now. Number 8. Excessive alcohol consumption. Excessive alcohol consumption has a direct and profound effect on the brain. In small quantities and with moderation, it may seem harmless, but when consumption becomes frequent or high, the damage is serious. Alcohol interferes with communication between neurons and alters the structure of brain cells. In the medium and long term, this can lead to brain atrophy, impairing capacities such as memory, language, and motor control. Continuous exposure to alcohol also reduces the volume of the hippocampus, an essential region for learning. Studies show people who drink regularly, even without dependency, have a higher risk of developing early dementia. The effects are not only physical but also emotional. Irritability, anxiety, and depression are common among frequent consumers. One drink today, two tomorrow, and the brain weakens silently. The liver, responsible for metabolizing alcohol, also plays an indirect role in this process. When overloaded, it releases toxins that cross the blood-brain barrier and worsen brain inflammation. This creates an oxidative stress environment that accelerates nerve cell death. And the more frequent the consumption, the harder it becomes for the brain to recover from damage. It is a dangerous cycle that can settle quickly. Moreover, alcohol interferes with deep, restorative sleep, essential for brain regeneration. Even if the person sleeps after drinking, sleep quality is much lower, impairing memory consolidation and emotional balance. Night rest is when the brain cleans its natural toxins, and with alcohol in the body, this process is interrupted. Reducing or eliminating alcohol from the routine is a powerful measure to recover mental performance. There are pleasant alternatives such as non-alcoholic drinks based on natural fruits that preserve social interaction without sacrificing your mind. And remember, the biggest villain among cooking oils, the one that can accelerate brain aging, will be revealed soon. Stay until the end to know which oil should leave your life immediately. Number 7. Energy drinks. Energy drinks are seen as allies to increase performance, but the truth is they dangerously disrupt brain function. With high doses of caffeine, taurine, guarana, and other chemical stimulants, these drinks force the nervous system to work beyond its limits. The result is an artificial energy spike, followed by physical and mental collapse. This roller coaster effect directly impacts brain health. Excess caffeine causes agitation, insomnia, anxiety, and even tachycardia, impairing concentration. Taurine, present in high doses, can alter neurotransmitter patterns such as dopamine and serotonin, affecting mood and reasoning. Repeated consumption leads to a state of constant stress for the brain, which loses its ability to recover during sleep. Without rest, there is no cellular renewal. Another risk of these drinks is the artificial additives and sugars present in many formulas. These ingredients contribute to brain inflammation, increased glucose, and metabolic overload. Furthermore, combined use with alcohol, common among young people, creates overlapping effects that may result in permanent neurological function damage. The human brain, especially in formation or aging, was not made to handle this continuous aggression. The consequences do not appear immediately, but accumulate over time. Changes in sleep cycle, attention deficit, irritability, and mental fatigue are the first signs that something is wrong. And when the habit is not interrupted, impacts become increasingly hard to reverse. This false promise of energy comes at a high price for mental health. Avoiding energy drinks and opting for natural energy sources like water, fruits, green juices, or a good night's sleep is much more effective and safe. Caring for the brain requires conscious decisions. But get ready, in the last chapter of this video, you will meet the most dangerous oil of all, a disguised enemy that silently attacks your mind every day. Number 6. Ultra-processed foods in general. Ultra-processed foods are everywhere, ready to eat, easy to store, and with extended shelf life. But behind this convenience, there is a toxic composition for the brain. These products are loaded with chemical additives, artificial colorants, preservatives, flavor enhancers, and substances like monosodium glutamate. And the brain, sensitive as it is, suffers from each dose of these substances. Glutamate, for example, directly affects neurotransmitters, causing neuronal hyperstimulation. This can lead to nerve cell exhaustion, causing progressive damage to brain structure. Artificial colorants associated with attention and behavior disorders are particularly dangerous for children and the elderly. These effects may seem small at first, but silently accumulate over time. Another alarming point is that ultra-processed foods are nutritionally poor. Consuming them means ingesting empty calories without vitamins, minerals, or fibers that truly nourish the brain. This generates hidden nutritional deficiency, where even eating a lot, the brain remains hungry. This prolonged deficiency compromises basic cognitive functions such as focus, memory, and learning. Your brain, without the right fuel, simply cannot perform. Furthermore, these foods induce glucose and insulin spikes, causing generalized inflammation, including brain inflammation. Neuroinflammation is one of the main causes of diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and depression. It's as if every day a small fire is lit in your brain until the fire becomes uncontrollable. All this because of seemingly harmless dietary choices. Avoiding ultra-processed foods and returning to real food is the safest way to keep the brain strong and healthy. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and clean proteins are your best allies. And if you've made it this far, it's good to know. In the last chapter of this video, we will reveal the worst oil of all for the brain. A hidden ingredient, present in millions of homes, that may be sabotaging your mental health right now. Number 5. Sugary breakfast cereals. Breakfast cereals are often sold as a practical and healthy option for breakfast. But in reality, they are disguised sugar bombs. Most industrialized cereals contain very high doses of refined sugar, colorants, and artificial additives. This generates a glucose spike first thing in the morning, followed by a rapid drop, directly affecting mood, energy, and concentration. For children and adolescents, consuming these cereals can negatively impact school performance and behavior. But adults are not exempt. Over time, the brain gets used to this glucose roller coaster and loses efficiency. It is a vicious cycle that generates compulsion, mental fatigue, and even emotional changes. A sweet start to the day that ends up souring your cognitive ability. The problem worsens with the lack of fiber and real nutrients in these products. Without fiber, digestion speeds up, and the body cannot absorb nutrients properly. Additionally, many of these cereals contain compounds like BHT and BHA, used as preservatives, which have been linked to hormonal dysfunctions and neurotoxic effects. Imagine starting your day with a dose of these substances right at breakfast. Another factor is the false satiety. These cereals momentarily deceive hunger, but soon leave you wanting to eat more. This not only contributes to weight gain, but also harms brain metabolism. The brain needs constant and balanced energy, not glucose explosions followed by nutritional emptiness. This deficiency leads to mental and emotional performance drops throughout the day. For a truly nutritious breakfast, prefer whole oats, fresh fruits, seeds, and natural yogurt. These options feed your brain stably and efficiently. But don't forget, there is still a bigger enemy lurking. In the last chapter, we will reveal which oil, very commonly used daily, is the most dangerous for your brain. Number 4. Microwave popcorn. Microwave popcorn may seem like a practical and even healthy option. After all, it's just corn, right? Wrong. Many industrialized versions of this product contain dangerous additives, like diacetyl, which is used to give artificial buttery flavor. The problem is this substance can cross the blood-brain barrier and cause direct damage to neurons. This makes it a real threat to those who regularly consume this type of popcorn. Diacetyl has been associated in laboratory studies with destruction of synaptic connections essential for communication between neurons. In the long term, this can affect memory, mental agility, and even emotional balance. Although more known for causing respiratory problems in factory workers, diacetyl also has serious neurological implications. And that's not all. The fats used in these popcorns are often trans or oxidized. Besides diacetyl, many popcorn packages contain preservatives like TBHQ, another compound linked to central nervous system dysfunction. The combination of chemical additives and low-quality fat exposes the brain to a true toxic cocktail. Over time, this may result in progressive decline in cognitive function, even if symptoms are not immediately noticeable. And don't be fooled into thinking this threat is only in buttery flavors. Even light or fit, microwave popcorn versions may contain these compounds, along with salts and artificial flavorings. Constant exposure can affect the brain cumulatively, especially in more sensitive people or those predisposed to neurodegenerative diseases. The safest alternative? Make your own popcorn at home with natural corn and a drizzle of healthy oil, like coconut or extra virgin olive oil. This way you avoid dangerous additives and control ingredient quality. But be alert, the most harmful oil of all, a true enemy of the brain, will be revealed soon, in the last chapter of this video. And you'll be surprised to discover how present it is in your routine. Number 3. Industrialized ice creams. Industrialized ice creams may seem like an innocent indulgence, but hide ingredients that are true enemies of the brain. Full of sugar, trans fat, stabilizers, and artificial colorants, they create a perfect scenario for brain inflammation. Frequent consumption affects functions like memory, reasoning, and emotional regulation. That tasty dessert may actually be sabotaging your mind. The amount of sugar in a tub of industrialized ice cream is alarming. This glycemic overload leads to energy spikes and drops that directly affect mental stability. Furthermore, these constant spikes are linked to brain insulin resistance, a condition that may accelerate the onset of diseases like Alzheimer's. And that's not all. The trans fat in these products affects neuron communication, reducing their efficiency. Another critical point is the additives used to give color and flavor. Substances like tartrazine and red 40, common in brightly colored ice creams, have proven negative effects on behavior and cognitive function. Children regularly exposed to these additives show a higher tendency to attention disorders. In adults, the risk is the accumulation of toxins that damage brain cells. The problem intensifies with habitual use. Ice creams are often consumed at night, interfering with sleep and hindering brain cleaning and regeneration processes. This nighttime impact compromises deep rest, so essential for memory and emotional balance. Over time, the brain suffers silent but persistent wear, directly influenced by dietary choices. Opting for homemade ice cream versions with natural fruits, yogurt, or plant-based milk can preserve pleasure without sacrificing mental health. And remember, what you eat to reward yourself should strengthen your mind, not weaken it. Now, we are very close to the most important truth of this video. In the next few minutes, you will discover the most destructive oil for the brain, and maybe it's in your kitchen right now. Number 2. Ketchup and ready-made sauces. Ketchup, salad dressings, and ready-made seasonings are practical and widely used daily, but also carry serious threats to brain health. Many of these products are rich in sugar, salt, and monosodium glutamate, a combination that disrupts neurotransmitters. Glutamate, especially, is known to cause excessive excitation of neurons, leading to cell death in cases of frequent consumption. Besides that, these sauces usually contain additives like preservatives and chemical stabilizers that affect the nervous system. One of the most used, sodium benzoate, can cause adverse effects on behavior and cognition, especially when associated with caffeine or food coloring. Over the long term, constant exposure to these ingredients can impair memory and concentration ability. Excess sodium is another problem. Even in small portions, these condiments accumulate significant amounts of salt that raise blood pressure and harm brain circulation. Over time, this contributes to microlesions formation in the brain and increases stroke risk. It's a sneaky threat that sneaks onto the plate unnoticed. Hidden sugar is one of the big deceptions of these products. A ketchup sachet may contain up to a teaspoon of sugar, further aggravating effects on brain metabolism. This kind of sugar, consumed frequently, feeds inflammation and causes mood swings, anxiety, and cognitive difficulties. All this without most people noticing. Avoiding these ready-made sauces and preparing natural dressings with olive oil, fresh herbs, and lemon is a simple and much more nutritious solution. Small changes can generate big impacts on mental clarity and brain protection. But the biggest impact of all is in the ingredient about to be revealed now. It's time to meet the true villain among cooking oils. The next chapter brings the final revelation. Number 1. Refined soybean oil. Refined soybean oil, so common in kitchens worldwide, is extremely rich in inflammatory omega-6, and this represents a direct risk to neurological function. Excess omega-6 in the body creates an imbalance between essential fatty acids, feeding chronic inflammation throughout the body, especially in the central nervous system. Recent research associates soybean oil with increased risk of neurological disorders like Alzheimer's and depression. This oil affects genes responsible for crucial brain functions and compromises oxytocin production, the hormone linked to mood and social connections. It's as if the brain, exposed to this oil daily, was losing its ability to communicate efficiently. Moreover, refined soybean oil is often extracted with chemical solvents like hexane, which leave harmful residues in the final product. These residues can interfere with cell function and damage delicate nervous system structures. In children, this impact can affect brain development. In adults, it accelerates mental aging and reduces natural protection against oxidative stress. This oil is present not only in its pure form used for frying, but also in breads, cookies, industrialized sauces, and even foods labeled as healthy. It is cheap and versatile, making it omnipresent and at the same time very dangerous ingredient. Daily consumption, even in small amounts, may be the hidden cause of many mental and emotional symptoms. The good news is substitution is possible. Choose extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or extra virgin coconut oil, much healthier options for the brain. Changing the type of oil you use can transform your mental health. Now you know, among all the dangerous foods for the brain, refined soybean oil is the most treacherous. Eliminating it from your diet is one of the most powerful steps to protect your mind. And if you want to keep receiving the best videos for your health, subscribe to the channel, as it exists for only one reason: to make you a healthier person with better quality of life. Helping you is my mission. In the video that now appears on your screen, I reveal 15 iron-rich foods you must eat today to destroy anemia. Click on the screen and check it out.